Hey there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I want to share with you a couple of the books that I hopefully will pick up in the month of December. I say hopefully because I'm a notorious mood reader, so my plans tend to change whenever my mood runs over those plans, but let's see how faithful I can be to my own plans this upcoming month. So I'm going to share with you a couple of the books that I definitely, hopefully, will pick up. I have a couple of books on here that I hope will still be contenders for my bests of the year. So there's a couple of books that I definitely really will pick up. And then there's a couple of books that I've been putting off throughout the year that I want to pick up because I'm kind of slacking on those. And then there's a couple of holiday romances that I definitely want to pick up because I still want to be immersed in the Christmas spirit before the holiday commences. So yeah, I'm going to share all of those books with you, starting with the holiday romances. I have two that I definitely want to pick up as soon as possible because I'm really intrigued by those. The first one is called A Whole Lot of Mistletoe by Zach Jones. This one is actually the one that I'm very curious about because on Goodreads it doesn't have a synopsis, it just says that it's a romantic comedy, but it popped up in my Storytel as an audiobook that just released, and what it said there is that the main character, I believe, inherits a mistletoe farm, which sounds very intriguing. I've never heard about a mistletoe farm before, so I just want to know what happens there. And sign me up for a romantic comedy any day when it involves a holiday theme. So yeah, I definitely want to pick this one up. And then the second holiday themed book that I want to pick up is one that I'm very intrigued by because it sounds like it's going to be a very fun time. The book is called The Geek Who Saved Christmas, and it's by Annabeth Albert, and it's a male romance, grumpy sunshine, age gap, romance between two neighbors, and we have one neighbor who is like the ideal type of neighbor, while the other one is very kind of secluded and antisocial. So we have a very much opposites attract type of situation where I believe that the guy who is like the perfect neighbor has always had a thing for the older neighbor of his. And yeah, I'm really intrigued by this one. I'm going to be picking up the audiobook for it, and I'll let you know how I like it as soon as I read it. Next up, I definitely want to pick up Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the third book within the Lovelight Farms series. I picked up Lovelight Farms in October and I really liked it. And then I picked up the second book this month and I liked it as well. So I hope that the third one will be as charming as the other two and that I'll love it as well. I believe that it's the story of the baker within the Lovelight Farms town, which I think her name is Layla. So yeah, we're going to follow her story, and I really hope again that I'm as charmed by this one as I was with the other two. So I didn't know this, but Anna Huang actually had a duet released in 2020 or 2021. I'm not sure which year it was, but I hadn't heard about it before, and I just saw that it popped up on my Storytel app as a new audio release for the app itself, and I immediately was notified because I follow Anna Huang on Storytel, and I got a notification that her audiobooks are ready for me to read. And those audiobooks are ones which follow the same couple. The first one is called If We Ever Meet Again. The second one is called If the Sun Never Sets. And what I understood is that it's a story between an interior designer and an ex-football player who are very much opposites of each other. So the girl, she is, I think it's a new adult story, by the way. The girl, she is someone who is kind of waiting for her fairy tale to begin, kind of waiting to be swept off her feet and fall in love, while the guy is the typical type of person who has kind of signed off on love. He doesn't believe in it at all. And then unfortunately for him, he falls in love with the type of person who is very much the opposite of him. So yeah, I'm very curious about this one as well. Like I mentioned before, typically opposites attract vibes are very compelling. So I hope that this one is just as compelling as I hope it will be. And I really love the Twisted series by Huang that I read this year, the 3 books that I managed to finish, and I hope that this one is a hit for me as well. The next book, I actually just recently saw that Cheyenne finished it and she was raving about it so much. I think she gave it 5 stars and was kind of hoping that more people would pick it up. So I looked it up and it sounded really good to me, so I definitely want to pick it up. It's a forbidden romance called Restore Me by J.L. Seegars. And this book involves a woman who has lost her husband, and I believe she falls in love with his best friend, and that's why it's a forbidden story. I think that those types of stories tend to be not only emotional, but sometimes very kind of taxing on the soul, because you know that the two people feel for each other, but then they feel like they're kind of cheating on the memory of the person that they love, for her husband, and then for him his best friend. So I want to see how that will play out, whether it will have a happy ending or not. And like I mentioned, Cheyenne really kind of sung the praises for this book, so I definitely want to see whether it will work for me as well as it did for her. The next one I hope to pick up because I've been putting it off for quite some time, but I definitely want to get to this series, is the first book within the Salacious Players Club series by Sara Cate. The first one is called Praise. This book, actually all of the books within this series have blown up on Booktube and TikTok and everywhere, so I definitely want to get to them to see whether the hype is worth it for me. And the first book I know that involves an age gap and also praise kink. So this, I think that this whole world involves like a kink club, and all of the books involve one of the guys who is like the owner or co-owner of this club. So I definitely want to see how this one will play out for me. It involves BDSM, it involves so a lot of steamy scenes obviously, but I really hope that it's not only focusing on the steam, as so many people have loved this series. I kind of have high hopes for it, that it will work out for me as well. So yeah, let's see if I'll get to it this month, because I've promised myself almost the entire year that I'm going to be picking up these books. But yeah, let's see if this one is going to end up on my read list next month. One of the books that I mentioned that I expect to be in my favorites list for 2022 is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. And I actually ordered the physical copy of this book at my mom's place, but I'm going to be visiting them on the 14th, 15th of December. So that's when I'm going to get my hands on my physical copy, and that's probably when I'm going to sit down and read it right away. So yeah, this book I definitely want to see how it will impact me, because I definitely think it will be a 5-star read. It's a second chance romance between a divorced couple. I typically love second chance romances. Those are my favorite types of stories, and I really love it when the characters are also kind of within my age range, and have kind of had a lot happened to them. They have more experience, they have more kind of insight to who they are and who they expect the person next to them to be. So I have really high hopes for this one, and I'll let you know once I finish it what I thought about it, because I think again it will end up on my favorites list of the year as well. The next book that I definitely think I'm going to love is by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Is the second book within her prequel series to the Blood and Ash series, and it's called A Light in the Flame. We're following what is happening with Nyktos and Seraphina, and I'm very kind of torn on whether I should read the first book again, because while I do remember a lot of things that happened, I think it's best to kind of, whenever I'm reading a fantasy book, it's better to kind of be very immersed into the story. So if I don't read the first one, I'm kind of doubting whether I'm going to follow very well the details of the second one, if you get what I'm saying. So I'll see whether I'm going to pick up the first one and then the second one, or whether I'm going to see whether anything is available, like a spoiler-filled review is available on Booktube, and then read the second one. I'll see what I'll do, but I definitely want to pick up this one as well. The last book that I plan on picking up, I really hope that I'm going to get to it in December, or at least as soon as possible, to be honest, because I just discovered the works of this author this year. I read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score at the start of the year, and I really loved it. And I vowed to myself to pick up more works by this author as I go. And I saw that she just recently released Maggie Moves On. So that's the book that I'm really intrigued by, that I want to read by her, because it involves a woman who flips houses. And she has a YouTube channel that is very successful, and she's just recently purchased a very big, like a Victorian style house that she needs to flip in a very short amount of time. And that's where she meets a gardener who is hired to help her with the process. And they're very much opposites attract, from what I understood. So again, we have a situation where that may be a compelling factor within the story. So yeah, I'm very curious about this one, and I really hope that I'm going to be able to pick it up in December. And that about wraps up the books that I have planned to pick up. Now, that does not mean that I'm not going to pick up other stories, or that I'm going to pick up all of these, because like I mentioned, mood reader here. So yeah, I really hope that I'm going to get to all of them, or at least most of them. And please let me know what you're planning to read in the month of December, and also let me know if you've read any of the stories that I am planning to read and what you thought about them. And I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading, take care, and bye-bye.